how many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 14 Personnel Trade Targets Week 4. I am your host, Justin Wright, joined by the other quarter of 14 Personnel, Marco Enriquez. What's going on, Marco?
What's going on? It's crazy that we're heading into Week 4. Like, what the heck happened to the first month of the season?
It's some of my teams. It's a lot less exciting now than it was like Week 1 when my team.
Well, it's especially depressing for Bears fans.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it, man. But we're going to Tuesday today, if you're listening to this when this comes out, with right. Andy Behrens, Dave Kluge, talking over on the 14P channel. So if you're catching this, keep an eye out for the live stream. If not, go back, watch it if you missed it. Trade targets, Week 4. Let's just get into it. We got 5 names here. Number 1 on our list, Keenan Allen. Looking at 17.6 points a game right now. He's a top 12 wide receiver still. His upcoming schedule, the Raiders, the Browns, the Ravens. The reason he's on this list for me, at least, is right now Mike Williams is the hot name there. He is the guy everybody is talking about as the wide receiver 1 in LA. And while technically it is true for fantasy, Keenan Allen is still having a hell of a year. And very, very quietly, he's seen 11 targets a game. He is first in red zone targets, despite what, all the Mike Williams hype and touchdown production. He's a guy, I think, that some owners may be a little bit nervous because of Mike Williams' emergence, really. I mean, his year 4 now? The year 4 breakout?
Yeah.
So are you in on Keenan Allen? Or is there anything else that I'm missing that still makes him an enticing target to pay up for?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'm just pulling up some of his stats here. But yeah, I'm still in on Keenan Allen. Like, there's no way you can't be in on Keenan Allen. I think one of the things that comes with the emergence of Mike Williams is that Keenan Allen is still, just because of how this offense is set up, he's still going to see 8 to 12 targets a game, which is great. You can't beat that. But they're going to probably be more efficient targets because the defense doesn't have to only worry about him anymore. So I think Mike Williams actually helps him quite a bit. You're not going to get him cheap, but you're also not going to get him at the premium people were paying, like in drafts even. Like, he's taken a little bit of a step back because people are so enamored with Mike Williams right now. I think they both continue to succeed, but I think Keenan is a buy at a fair price right now.
Right. He's one of those guys. He's not a buy low. He's not a sell high. You're just paying market value, and it's fine. Like, it's worth it. He has 100 yards in 2 out of 3 games and a touchdown in the other third game. So he's been great. I got 2 names I want to throw out to you. Which side are you taking here? And we'll do this with all the players. Keenan Allen, Joe Mixon.
I'm going to take Joe Mixon there. And I know you're a Joe Mixon hater, but I think Joe Mixon he's a running back, first of all. So that automatically bumps up his value for me.
He's a running back.
Well, I mean, but it matters. I mean, that bumps up his value for me no matter what, especially since we've already lost a lot of good running backs. And then also his schedule is really nice. Like, he's had a couple get down games, but he hasn't been horrible. Like, he played the 2 games he wasn't amazing in were against good or fairly solid running defenses. So I think Mixon's going to be fine this year. So I'm going to go Mixon here, but it's tight.
Yep, I'm taking Keenan Allen again. I'm anti-Mixon. It's just I don't believe in the efficiency. Never have, never will.
Yeah.
Last one here, Zeke. We're recording this at halftime of the Monday night game, but he's lighting the world on fire. 2 touchdowns, had a third one called back. Are you trading Zeke for Keenan Allen?
No. Oh, yeah, I would trade Zeke for Keenan Allen because Zeke, we're already seeing it, even with him getting in the end zone twice this game. Tony Pollard's super involved in this game plan. So I think Zeke is going to still be a good fantasy player, but I'd rather have Keenan. I think he's going to get more opportunity.
Yeah, Zeke's a prime sell high. He's been productive, but the workload to sustain that I don't think will be there. So I'll take Keenan as well. Moving on to our second player on the list here, another high-profile wide receiver, and you're going to notice that we got another one on this list as well. We have Stefon Diggs coming up against Houston, Kansas City, Tennessee. What do you have on Stefon Diggs and why he's a buy for us, Marco?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're looking at the screen right now, you can see his upcoming schedule. That's a big boost. Houston, of course, in week 4, he should explode. Kansas City is a game they're going to be in all game long, and they're going to have to be throwing all game long. So I think that's a game where he might even outproduce week 4, And then Tennessee's another weak defense. So even if you look at his next 3 weeks, he's going to bounce back up to that top echelon of wide receiver, and we haven't seen him do that a ton yet. Like we can see, he's averaging 14.7 fantasy points per game. He should be better than that, and he will be. And so if you can buy him right now at a little bit of a discount, do it.
Yeah, he's seeing 10 targets a game. The opportunity's there. He just hasn't produced. I care about
Josh
targets.
Allen started slow,
Yeah, it just happens. It's part of the game. So we got 2 trade packages because I don't really think there's like I'll give up basically any running back outside of the enormous names
right
for Stefon Diggs. So we got a package, 2 packages: Chris Carson and Cortland Sutton for Stefon Diggs.
Yeah, I would do that. I like Chris Carson quite a bit. The Cortland Sutton's value is probably going to go the other way as the season goes on. So
yeah, well, especially with Judy, I think coming back, he'll level out as a back end wide receiver too. So I'm in.
Yep.
And then Kareem Hunt and Mike Evans.
Oh, that one's hard, but I'm going to go Stefon Diggs still. I think Kareem Hunt proved to us, this past week that he's still a very, very good running back. But Mike Evans' inconsistency in fantasy, as much as his end of season production looks nice, is infuriating to own. And I think Stefon Diggs is going to be worth the price once you roster him. And he, as Josh Allen continues to get back on track here. Yep.
I'm the same way. The inconsistency over the course of the season for Hunt and Evans, I'd rather just take Diggs, my 10 targets, walk away. Probably, again, I didn't draft Hunt as a starter, most likely, probably an RB3. So I'm okay moving on if I have the depth there.
Yep.
To make that kind of move. Another underperforming, high-profile wide receiver, my guy, my wide receiver 4, Calvin Ridley, sitting here with 14.5 points a game, coming up against Washington, the Jets, and Miami. I have no concerns over Calvin Ridley. The work has been there. The offense has just looked out of sync, and I do think they end up getting it right. Again, they're learning a new offense with Arthur Smith. It hasn't gone according to plan, but still, Calvin Ridley is seeing the work. 8 targets, 10 targets, 11 targets, and on top of it, he's second in red zone targets, only behind Keenan Allen. So the touchdowns will come, the yards, the completions, everything's going to end up coming his way. It just hasn't worked out right, to start the season. But again, I'm not concerned. He's still been in double digits all 3 weeks. It's just not, you haven't had the ceiling games you're looking for.
Right. Yeah. For me, I'm not concerned about Calvin Ridley. I do think Matt Ryan is officially done. As
he looks dusty.
He looks so bad, on top of the fact that this offense is, like you said, trying to figure themselves out. So I'm not worried about Calvin Ridley for the long term or even, for the entirety of the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if 14.5 to 16.5 is kind of what we should expect from him for the rest of the way because of this offense. They just don't know what they're doing right now.
I refuse to believe that. I think he still ends up firmly inside the top 10 wide receivers on volume alone again. But again, I get it. I understand. So I got 2 packages because I'm very similar. I value him similarly to Stefon Diggs still. I think he's a top end wide receiver. I'll trade basically anybody but the big names at running back for him. So Miles Sanders, Robert Woods for Calvin Ridley.
Oof.
And keep in mind, Robert Woods was on our trade targets list last week, and I don't love it as much anymore.
Yeah, so that one's actually kind of tough. I'm gonna take Calvin Ridley there though.
So would I. I'm not.
I think he's gonna see more consistent work, and like you said, he's getting the red zone work. If they figure it out even a little bit, I like Calvin Ridley.
Yep, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay moving on from Sanders and Woods for him. And then Javonte Williams and Deebo Samuel.
Javonte Williams and Deebo. Oh, that one's close. And I probably would have said no shots preseason. But I'm going to actually say that I'm okay with that right now because Deebo's schedule the rest of the way is phenomenal. It's so good. And
so you wouldn't trade them for Calvin Ridley?
Oh, sorry. Yes. No, I would keep them. I would keep that package.
It doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah. Okay. I misspoke there, but I would keep the package. Deebo's schedule the rest of the way is awesome. And I think they're using him in creative ways like they typically do, but he's getting a lot of looks. So I'm all in on Deebo being really solid. Sure, he might not keep the ceiling, but I think he's going to be very good. And Javonte Williams is just getting more valuable every single week to me. And so he could be a league winner by the end of the season. So I'm okay doing it. I might feel uncomfortable for the first couple of weeks, but I think it'll pay off at the end.
No, I'm taking Ridley all day long. Ayuk, the resurgence is coming, and it's going to hurt Debo, I think, more than it hurts Kittle. So I will get out from underneath Debo Samuels now if I can and get a top-end guy like Ridley.
Yeah, I get that.
Yep. So, again, we talked about it. We're Bears fans. Call it a homer pick. I don't really care. It's David Montgomery. Why is he still a key target for you?
I'm pulling it up so you guys can see this. So you can see his next 3 games: Detroit, Las Vegas, Green Bay. After that, which is, incredible for him. After that, he plays Tampa Bay, which is a tough one. San Francisco, which has been not so tough so far this season.
Yep.
And then Pittsburgh. So those are kind of in that difficult range. Then after the bye, he has almost all green weeks the rest of the way in, bottom half of the league in rushing defenses. So David Montgomery is going to feast near the end of the season, just like he did last year. And right now I would pay a lot to get him because he's going to be a low end RB1, high end RB2, weeks 10 to through your playoffs.
Yeah. This is one of those guys that, again, he ends the season with Detroit, Arizona, Green Bay, Minnesota, Seattle, Giants. It's cake. It's a cakewalk schedule. Yeah. This is what we harped on all last season. It's the same damn thing. So Brandon Cooks or David Montgomery?
David Montgomery.
Yeah, I like Brandon Cooks. I think he's going to be very good, but this just comes down to I think David Montgomery is going to be more positionally more valuable. So I'll take Montgomery.
Yep.
And then Julio Jones with a couple of weeks, maybe longer, of no AJ Brown.
I'm still going to go David Montgomery. I don't know if I trust what the Titans defense or offense is doing right now. Minus AJ Brown, it's just a weird team to figure out. They might rely more on Derrick Henry now than ever, even with Julio. So I'm going David Montgomery.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. And then, obviously I made these trade packages and picks, so I am taking David Montgomery. And then our last one on the list, a carryover from last week, Marvin Jones Jr. coming up against Cincinnati, Tennessee, Miami, seeing just under 9.5 targets a game. He's on pace for 150 targets over 16 games. He is a guy that I'm still looking to acquire everywhere because he doesn't cost you the same as some other high-profile guys, but is seeing very, very similar target work and on a team that has to throw the ball. So what are you doing with Marvin Jones? I assume you're still okay trading for him, but at a significantly decreased price from the guys we've listed already.
Yeah, totally. I mean, his schedule and his workload right now are great. The pace of that offense is what's helping him a ton right now. And the fact that they're losing all the time, and they just traded away CJ Henderson. So they're going to be losing even more. so
bad.
Right. Exactly. It's terrible.
Amazing.
So that's really good for him. I think there's some discount trades I might make with him. Like I would be willing to sell him for a little bit cheaper than what he's worth, depending on what your team needs, So he's an interesting guy because things could go awry really quickly for the Jaguars. And that could mean also bad for Marvin Jones at some point. So who knows really how you want to look at this guy long-term. It's just kind of what the makeup of your team is really when you look at trades. Yeah.
So Chase Edmonds or Marvin Jones?
So if you need wide receiver, you do not trade away Marvin Jones. If you're desperate at running back, I actually wouldn't. No,
we're trading for Marvin Jones in this situation, Marco.
I see you. Okay.
That's what the whole video is about.
Well, we're at the end, so it makes sense that I'm getting it now. If you're desperate at running back and Chase Edmonds is like your RB2, there's no way you can make a move like this. But if he's your RB3 or if he's on your bench and you kind of throw him in for flex spots, go ahead and throw him at the Marvin Jones owner and see if you can get him. Because right now, Chase Edmonds, he's going to get 10 to 13, 14 points a game maximum. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, he gets no red zone work. That's James Conner's role. The ceiling's capped. Marvin Jones has a ceiling of 30 every week, whether you like it or not. And then last one here, an injured Josh Jacobs or Marvin Jones?
Oh, well, I mean, since Josh Jacobs is injured and a lot of the reports just say everything when it says what's hurt, I would trade Josh Jacobs for Marvin Jones. And it sounds horrible, but if we were to get reports like Wednesday that Josh Jacobs is going to play week 4, then I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it just depends. Again, every trade is team specific. It's the makeup of your team, whatever. So I'll take Marvin Jones. I'm out on Jacobs to begin with. I just don't think he's that great in that offense. I get it. He's a talented player. He's not used the right way.
Yeah,
it is what
exactly.
It is. All right, guys, that does it for us here. Trade targets, week 4. If you got any questions, trade questions, start, sit, even. Drop them in the comments or, in any other comment on any other video. We'll get to them when we can. Remember to subscribe. Catch me over on Twitter at Justin_14P. Catch Marco over on Twitter at Marco_14P. All right, guys, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.